How's it going, everyone? 1 year ago, skill-based matchmaking was added to DBD, and the killer experience almost instantly became consistently stressful and occasionally downright unfair. The response to this was mostly run better perks, play better killers, or just get good. Fast forward 1 year and now survivors are getting that same experience. You don't want to get tunneled? Fine, run an entire build based around not getting tunneled then. And that also goes for anti-camping, stealth, or doing gens faster. Sounds familiar, right? Hopefully it makes more sense now why killers were complaining how boring being forced to run 4 gen slowdown perks were in order to even have a chance at winning. That said, I've always believed Dead by Daylight should be less competitive, with balance focusing on trying to make games more fun and interesting for both sides. That hasn't changed just because it's easier to play killer now. So in this video, I'm going to be critiquing a few of the perk changes in the latest update and whether or not they are healthy for the game. Starting off with Eruption, because I haven't really seen anyone point out the glaring issue with this perk, which is that basically it's a slowdown perk that is 3 times as effective against solo queue survivors as it is against a 4-man survive with friends. Anytime I'm in a survive with friends and someone is about to go down against a killer that has Eruption, a simple "I'm going down" negates 75% of the perk's slowdown. The more solo queue players you have in a lobby, the stronger the perk becomes. This is not something that can ever be fixed by buffing solo queue or making Kindred base kit. It's inherently badly designed, and behavior needs to address this and rework the perk in some way. Literally, if you're getting value from this perk, it's because the survivors can't communicate. The same is true of Monstrous Shrine. It tells you the killer has it when you're hooked, but if you can't communicate with your team and tell them the killer has it, there's a good chance you are going to hit second stage. Consistency is needed with Monstrous Shrine. Either don't tell the survivor the killer has it whatsoever, or tell the entire team. Next up is Decisive Strike. I think in an effort to shake up the meta, behavior leaped before they walked on this one. Should DS work in the endgame? No. It's unfair and there's zero counterplay. Should Decisive Strike deactivate once a survivor has been fully healed? Yes. If you got fully healed after being unhooked, then you're not being unfairly tunneled. Should Decisive Strike only be a 3-second stun? No, it's way too short, and against high mobility killers, the survivor can be downed again almost instantly. DS was obviously a great perk that sometimes got used too offensively against killers, but overall it was a necessary perk. Killers shouldn't have such an easy solution to winning a match if they're not doing well in it or just because they want to. I'm guilty of this too. If I've gotten myself in a bad position, I would be dumb not to try to tunnel someone out of the game to make up for it. It shouldn't be an obvious play to tunnel someone out of the game, it should be a risky play to tunnel someone out of the game. Now, to sum up both of these points, take a look at my solo queue match in the background. I worked on one generator for over 2 minutes and never finished it in this match. I got hit with Eruption 3 times, costing me 75 seconds of incapacitated where I couldn't do anything, including healing my solo queue teammate who must have thought I was just being an asshole. The killer started to chase with me 6 times but didn't commit until the 7th, going back to the hook to get an easy trade or tunnel every time. We had one final chase in the endgame where she made sure to assert dominance. So let's break a few points down here. Did she play the game smart? Absolutely, she made the most optimal choices at every point in the match. Did she make the game as easy as possible on herself? Yes, she took no risks because without the threat of Decisive Strike there basically isn't any, especially when you're playing a killer that can deny body blocks like Sadako. Did she need to play the way she did in order to win? Well, she got her first down with Sadako on Ormond within 23 seconds of the match starting. The first chase itself was only 8 seconds long. She got her second down within 30 additional seconds. Does this look like a team where you need to play optimally in order to win? No, but obviously she could play however she wants. That's not the point. She's not a babysitter for the survivors. The point is that mechanics have to be built into the game to offer the best chance that all 5 players will have an engaging and fair experience. If you watched my Dead by Daylight Should Become a Heist Game video, or just know me in general, this is what I'll always argue for regardless of which side is getting the short end of the stick. Now, I know a lot of killer mains are basking in the joy of destroying survivors right now and probably think I'm being too soft, but there's a really important aspect of all of this you need to keep in mind. Killer nerfs or survivor buffs are coming as a result of this update. It's 100% guaranteed, which means that the criticism of the current issues for Survivor need to be on point. Otherwise, behavior might make really bad choices that leave the game in a worse state. Would you rather behavior implement heavier restrictions against tunneling and camping, which are 100% cheap and easy strategies to win the majority of your matches? Or would you rather them nerf the overall power of killers in some way? For me, it would be camping and tunneling, because if they nerf the overall power of killers again, camping and tunneling will just become even more appealing. As a killer, there was nothing that I rolled my eyes at harder than a sweaty survive with friend stacking every advantage in the game in their favor and then teabagging me at the exit gate, pretending that what they did was difficult. This right here is no different than that. It's the exact same thing in the opposite direction. You have to cap the level of power someone has over another player in an online game. You just have to. So think about those questions I asked you before and now reverse them, but with a sweaty survive with friends instead. Did they play the game smart? Absolutely, they made the most optimal choices at every point in the match. Did they make the game as easy as possible on themselves? Yes, they took no risks, because with incredibly fast gen speeds and 3 health states each, they could basically make as many mistakes as they wanted with little to no consequences. Did they need to play the way they did in order to win? Well, they finished 2 gens by time the killer got their first down on Midwich within 2 minutes of the match starting, and they got their 3rd gen done within 30 additional seconds. Does this look like a killer where you need to play optimally in order to win? No, but obviously they can play however they want. That's not the point. They're not babysitting the killer. If it's not obvious at this point, humans are competitive and like to win. But generally speaking, a lot of them also like using the least amount of effort possible to do so, or at least give themselves every advantage possible. There's still a lot more to talk about with this update, so I'll be making more of these videos about different aspects of it. I think Thanatophobia and gen speeds are close to the top of my list, but let me hear what you all think about this update. From the smallest changes to 1,000 word paragraphs, I'd like to know what your experiences have looked like since the last update released. I'll be taking all of this into consideration in my future videos. And as always, thanks so much for watching and have a good one.